Hey, Paul Akers here. I want to show you how to do wood Fastedge unfinished. I'm going to take you from the very beginning all the way through the end to actually finishing it. So you open up your Fastedge right here and your nice little clamshell that has a self-dispenser in it. It's got a little plastic wheel in here that it's all wound up on. And you stick it through a little tiny slit here on the side that we've made into our clamshell. And you shut that up like that. And then when you pull it out, you see you can pull it out and it self-contains the entire roll really nicely, okay? So I've got my Fastedge there. You see how nicely that's pulling out? Now I'm going to put this actually down on the ground because I'm going to pull it from down on the ground. You'll see why in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off my first little bit of Fastedge right here. Get behind the liner and you peel that off, and this stuff is like crazy sticky. So we're using about 5.5 mils of acrylic adhesive, which is very, very thick. Most adhesives are only about 1 mil thick. So we have 5 times more adhesive. So you're gonna put it on here, and this is 15/16 maple, and you wanna self-center it. Use your fingers on each edge. Just get it close, that's all that matters. As you see, I left this run wild in the back, so I don't waste any right there, and you'll see why. Then I'm gonna take my flush cut trimmers right here, and if I hold my finger right there like that, and hold it flat against there, boom, it's clipped off perfectly. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the back side, just like that. Now I can take this piece of Fastedge and I'm actually just gonna stick it right on my workbench right there so it stays in place and everything's good. Now I'm gonna take my roller and I'm gonna roll it really aggressively, just like this. Now, when you roll it, I like to use the steel wheels as opposed to the rubber wheels. It comes with both of them. This is a speed roller. But when you get done rolling it on the flat, I like to bend the edge just a little bit. See how I'm turning that edge? Turning that wheel at a slight angle right there? That really makes sure that the edges are on there really, really well. Just like that. Okay? So I roll it on there good, and I'm done. The next step is to take the quad trimmer. Now, you can trim both sides at one time, but this is wood and it has grain, so I like to look at it, and if I see some weird grain going off this direction, I'm actually going to take it apart and trim one side at a time. So you hold it on there like that, you press very firmly, you go nice and slow, right on down there, don't go too fast, you don't want to tear things out. See how that's just taking that off there beautifully? Now I'm going to go back the other direction, going with the grain. Okay, so just like that, I've trimmed both sides. Now I've got a nice clean edge, everything looks beautiful. Now I'm going to take the Fast Break with the 180 grit that's in here. And this is a really cool product that was developed by a cabinet maker, and it basically breaks the edge and makes a uniform edge on both sides. So I'm just going to pass it over there a couple times like this. Now, if you look at that edge, it's really amazing. It's blended in perfectly. Everything just looks really, really clean. It was very easy to do. If I want to get a little more, I can go like that. It'll roll the edge a little more. And the nice thing about that, it does two things. It basically makes for a perfect transition so nothing can catch the edge banding. And it applies additional pressure to the edge to make sure it's just really bonded on there well. Just for safety, one more time, a quick roll, make sure everything's good. Now, we would take that and repeat the entire process all the way through, all the way around the board. But for speeding this video up, just so you kind of see the whole process, I'm going to go ahead and finish it right now, and you're going to see that process and how easy it is. So in this case, I'm going to stain the first one just to kind of show you what the staining process is like, because the finishing is the most important part about Fastedge. If you put on too much stain or too much finish initially, it will actually end up saturating through the thin wood veneer and attack the adhesive, and the thinners in here will actually make it lift off. But if you do it right, you don't oversaturate, particularly the first couple coats, you're gonna be fine. So watch how I'm gonna do this. I got a little bit of stain, I didn't go crazy, right? And I put the stain on there, and I don't wanna get puddly, and I got the stain on there and it's done. That's basically about it, right like there. So I never really let a whole bunch of stuff get on there, just enough to get the coloring the way I wanted to get it. And then once that's done, I can take my spray varnish right here, or whatever varnish you want to use, and now you want to do 2 fog coats. Fog coats are just light little coats that allow you to put a little bit on there just to seal it. That's it. Now, I'll let that dry, hit it with a little bit of steel wool in about 5 minutes, and then buff it out one more time, coat it one more time, and then the third coat, I can lay it on there really heavy and there's no problem. So that's the process for finishing. If you do it like that every time, you're never gonna have a problem. But if you oversaturate it, all these thinners in there, lacquer thinners and everything else, you're gonna go right to that thin little veneer, attack that adhesive, and you're gonna have a problem. So I showed you that, let's do one more side. And then if you want, you can take a little piece of sandpaper and just lightly bevel that corner in, just like that, and take off any sharp edges so that nothing can catch on there. And you're done. So this is the side that we put the stain on and 1 coat of varnish. So I'll just come over here with my steel wool, just give a light little buff on that, not much, just enough to knock down the fuzz, basically a sanding sealer. Now I can put on 1 more coat here. So there you go. That's about how heavy you want to go. You don't want to get it really heavy and puddling. And if you do that consistently, you're going to have a great result. Okay, so we have 2 coats on there. I'm just going to buff it one last time. Just like that. Take my rag that off. Grab my finish. My little rattle can finish real quick. And this time I can lay it on there heavy because it doesn't matter. All right, and I'm sealing off those edges really well. Everything's nice. So now it's not a problem because I've created a nice barrier. Everything will come out perfect. I've actually sealed the edge of the wood banding to the side panel as well with the lacquer because it's on there nice and heavy, and you'll be perfect and you'll never have an issue with Fastedge and it'll work perfect. So the key is great pressure, roll it really hard, make sure the edges are transitioned perfectly with the fast break. Don't oversaturate with the finish. Make sure the piece is centered on there correctly. Clip off the ends, make sure they're transitioned well. You do all those things, you're gonna have a great result every time. Thanks a lot.